Me?
Yeah, thanks. So I'm here in Tampere, Finland, in the Metosin Tampere office. It's really quiet in here.
Right, it looks like you're on a veranda or something. Looks like with the curtains behind you, you're on.
Yeah, this is like a meeting room. I can show you around. So we just
okay.
this is nice.
Yeah, very nice. Yeah.
Ooh.
We should describe this for the people who are listening. It's a very nice room.
Yeah.
If they're not watching on YouTube, they don't get all the goodies, you know.
Yes. So let's get started. Tommy, can you give us some introduction about what you do and your company and Clojure and Finland and everything?
Yeah. So I'll start talking and like end in 1 hour. So
that's a perfect guest.
Yeah, that's good.
Right, sit back.
So I'm a co-founder in this company called Metosin, and it's been around for like 7 years, I think. But personally, I think I started programming in the 80s. My father bought this Sinclair Spectrum home computer, and I was doing BASIC with that in the like 83 or something, and I had no idea what to do. But I remember that there was this one friend I really loved, and it was the Go-To. And like with the Go-To loop, I could make these adventure games that like if you move to the left, you go to +10, and if you go southward, it's go to +100. And there's somewhere this one place which has go to like 2000, which is the end. So, but I started programming then, and like did some. I had Atari ST after that, another home computer, but. Basically, in the university, in Tampere University, I think it was 94. There was like real teaching of the programming, and the first course was actually Lisp. It was Scheme. So programming 1, and it was the last time they had that. So like, but it was like this mind opener. So before that, I did like Pascal and some C and C++, but then there's just like this beautiful language. And like first I did all these like global variables and tried to do this game, but the instructor said that no, you cannot have any of that. So you have to do purely functional way this application. And it took a lot of time for my mind to like go into this position that I could make this. But afterwards it was like really enlightening experience that I just like had this one function which says that print out who is the winner. There was, of course, like side effects all around, but like just print out who is the winner, and then there's the next level, and like, so that's how it started. But the next time I did like anything related to Lisp, it was 2012, 11 maybe, when we were starting Metosin. But in between, I was doing maybe 10 years of Java professionally. I was working in this like local telecom operator, so we started to do these Perl scripts and maintaining servers, and then went to this Java side. And actually, I think it was 1997 that there was this Netscape Livewire technology. Have you used that? Heard about that? Yeah, it was like server.
No, at least I heard about it.
Yeah, it was like server-side JavaScript. Like it was horrible. So. My first, like, I was starting to write my thesis about how to migrate from that into Java, and like those were the Java days. So there were no like servlet specs or JSP specs. We just like did the like raw servers and some Corba stuff. But like 10 years in the like large enterprise, doing all these enterprise projects and at some point, just we realized that this is not the thing we want to do. So me and Mikko and Jarppe, the other two co-founders, we decided that let's like start our own consultancy. So we knew that we were like really good, in our opinion, of course, like programming and like let's do something by ourselves. And Jarppe said that okay, he had been doing Clojure for some time, and he said that we will be the first like Clojure shop in Finland, and in those days I was doing mainly Scala, and I was like horrified. So no, yeah. So Clojure, are you really sure? But he convinced me that this is the way to do, and we were like doing these small exercises, and then he took me to the first Euro Clojure that was in London, And
Yeah.
that was like then I like realized, then there was this like thing that I remember, that beautiful Lisp in the like university, and now like people are talking about that, and they were really like brilliant people. And I remember there was Rich Hickey was there, I think, and Sam Aaron was there. So it was
Yeah, he was there.
Yeah, like this like really like
I think he was talking about co-racing at that time, like the apple pie stuff and all that stuff.
I'm not
in
sure,
Euro
but
Clojure
like
language.
it was my like first like real Clojure thing, so I didn't understand half of the thing, but people were so excited, so I it just caught up. And when we came back to Finland, like I said to Jarpe that our next project will be Clojure, so I want to do more of this. And
But why was there a hesitation or your surprise or like from where you were doing Scala?
yeah.
And then when somebody said, let's go to Clojure, so what was the reason you were like horrified?
It's like when you have like been building the Java way, like object-oriented stuff, and then suddenly like you found Scala, I think it was 2009 or something, and like it's like the better Java, so you can do the old way, but you can start to take these functional aspects over there, and it's like a much prettier language in that sense, and it's like familiar. And in the big organization, in big organization, like you have like hundreds of developers, and suddenly if you take Clojure and nobody knows that, that's like a big thing. But if you just decide that let's start doing Scala, it's like familiar, and like all the maintenance aspects, it's not that big a leap. And Clojure was just like, okay, this is totally different. But I remember that from the university. So, and Jarpe,
so the cross-selling was easier.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And so then you started with Clojure with Mikko, and
yeah, so it was like Mikko and Jarpe, the three founders in Metosin. So like first project we did was something, it was Java project, just like to get started. But as soon, right after the first Euro Clojure, there was this opportunity that big project was about to start, and we were like, me and Jarpe, we were asked to like join. So because we have been making noise about, like I was making noise of Scala basically, and he was like talking about Clojure, and like we met this one business guy, and he said that, okay, you are talking so much, so can you show how it works? And it was a nice start because he said that like do whatever. So do this prototype of this problem. So here what we are trying to do, and 2 weeks time, and I did this like Scala exercise. And Jarpe did the Clojure one, and their architect did the Java version. And after 2 weeks, we compared, so where are we? And Jarpe was like blowing us away. So I had this small, I think it was Days, some kind of Akka application. It was really complex and lots of things. And like Jarpe has a state is fold over events and showing these reducers. And I was like, wow, this is the thing. And this, the Java version was like a huge template of Spring with all these configurations. It was a huge thing, and it didn't work. And like,
okay, that was like, even if you have super configuration, if it doesn't work, then what's the point?
Yeah. But so that started as a Clojure, and I think it was just before summer vacations, and the whole team, we decided that, okay, this will be a Clojure project, and we will start after the summer vacation. So these are the books, read the books, try something out, and like just like the team of 5. Actually, we did it. I talked about this in the first Clojure tray in 2012. And we did the surveys in the first project, so that when it started, so how would you solve this kind of problem? And there was this one guy who said Scala, it was me, and everybody else that like Java. Even Jarpe, he said that, okay, the team knows Java. Java is like a good option. After 3 months, it was like, how would we do this again? And everybody said that it's Clojure. And we realized, okay, there's something happening. There's these Java developers. They are really excited. And we are really excited. And Jarpe has been excited for so long already. So just like within each 3 months, we like did a new survey. So how do you think? How do you feel? And like posted that on the internet somewhere. So it was like everybody was happy. And like we wanted to have the first conference in Finland because of this, and started to make noise. That we knew that like we love Clojure, but if no one knows about that, we are not going to make it happen. So the company of 3 will not get any gigs with Clojure unless everybody knows what it's all about. And since that, like, lots of noise. Yep.
I was going to ask you a quick question there, going back to your original challenge. From, you said it was a business person that asked you to do something, some kind of proof of concept. And you often hear from people these kind of, well, yeah, the business doesn't care what you write it in. They don't care. As long as it does what it's meant to do, the business don't care what it's written in. I really think that's bullshit, but I'm interested in your experience because it was driven by the business person in your story. So did they care or could they perceive a value?
I think in Finland, in those days, something big happened. So all the Finnish governmental projects. So there was this architecture decision that you can host your solutions in the cloud, and they don't have to be by these 2 big vendors in these locked chambers. And that was one of the projects. So the customer was one ministry in Finland, and they just said that, okay, this is a big project, and we need this kind of thing to happen, and you will maintain it, and you will make sure that the timetable will be met, and that's about it. And it was first sold as a pure Java project, and we were given this list of 12 architecture principles, and we looked at, no, there's all the things that are buzzwordy in Java, so maybe not, and that we went to the project because we were given the choice that if you can make something else happen, so you can go forward with that. And in the end, we did this new presentation about, I think there were 6 principles. The architecture was a bit different, the tools were different, the language was different, and we just said it runs on the JVM, and it was a JavaScript front-end in those days. There wasn't ClojureScript, so it was the architecture made the backend so much smaller. We said that it doesn't matter. There's so many components, so it's just one part of the puzzle. So what is the language of the backend? But after that, we got this approval that Clojure is a valid language for doing these government projects, and it was printed in the government wiki, and then it was everybody can do that. And actually. I'm not sure. I heard later that there was some approval process of making these new languages in, but we didn't know about it, and we just put it there. And but Scala was there already. We said that it's so similar, so let's approve that, and they approved that.
Yeah.
But
I think with the big bureaucratic organizations, I'm not sure how it is in Finland, though. I mean, usually in the bigger organizations, they do have this approved list of tools and languages and architecture and all that stuff, and I'm actually, surprised it was so quick. I mean, you took a couple of weeks, and then you were able to show them, Clojure is a viable alternative to Scala, for example.
Yeah, exactly. But it was because in the end, the requirements were these kind of things have to be available, and the technology doesn't matter. So the end customer, they don't care about what is the tech. And because the who is building the thing, they have to maintain it themselves. So it's not handed over to anybody. But and one other thing about the Finnish government thing is most of the code is open source, and if you go to GitHub and check all the ministries, and there's these repositories, so there's lots of Scala, there's lots of Clojure, lots of Java, some Node.js backends, and at some point there were more Clojure repositories than there were any of the other individually. So it's it just got big.
Yeah.
And
Nice.
when you're given an option that there's this one thing that you will be building for 2 years, and you can choose the tools, and people know that you can take something else than the Java, which was the norm before that. So they're good people, brilliant people going and doing those projects, and they were successful. And
so what is the community like before Clojure? I mean, is it primarily Java projects everywhere, and how did, because now I think Finland is prime example of Clojure country. I think there are so many Clojure developers from Finland. So how did the not transition, but how did the community or the people who are working in Java switch to Clojure, or how is it growing, or how did it start?
Um, I talked with Mika some time ago, and we were trying to figure out what happened there. And one thing was that Helsinki University had this like online course about closure, and it
Yes.
was
Yeah.
in the same time as like we had the first closure conference, and we started to talking about these like successful projects with that. And suddenly, like the young people were like taking the course and like, wow, this is really cool, but can you really use that? And then the big consultancy companies say that, we are doing these governmental projects and like we can use closure. And suddenly there's new people who want to do that, and then there's like approval, you can do that. And then suddenly, like many big companies do that, started doing that. And for example, now in Closure Tray, all the like major consultancy companies are sponsoring and they're hiring closure developers.
Yeah.
So it's like we don't have to talk about it anymore. So it's still a niche. There are maybe like 100 times more Java developers, but still it's approved everywhere. So wherever you go, if you want to do closure, you just like apply for a closure job. There are lots of jobs and lots of like demand at the moment.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you grew into what is the size of your company now? How many people are doing closure at Metasin right now?
I think it's around 20 people at the moment. So it's
Wow.
in Tampere and in Helsinki. We had two sites at the moment, and at the moment I think like everybody is doing closure, but it depends. So like we do like want to do interesting projects, and sometimes there's like really good opportunity, but then the technology is set. And like for example, I just checked that every second project I've been doing is non-closure, just because of so there have been this like either some like a good person I knew I want to work with him for the next 1 year, or then just some interesting problem. And like if it's Scala, then it's Scala. I've been doing that for many years, and that's totally okay. And actually, that's the time when I'm doing those open source things, because when you are doing Scala on the day work, you want to do something like refreshing afterwards, and you develop some libraries or do something internal stuff.
A palette cleanser.
So the technique to put really quality closure open source projects is to get a Scala day job.
Yeah, exactly.
Is that what you're saying?
Isn't that what you did, VJ?
Yeah, pretty much. I think that's what I did, and I was doing most of the time Scala as well, Vitaka, Scala. But also, I think slowly I transitioned into big data related things, and then their closure is not really that popular. And on the machine learning side, there is Python, and on data side, it's basically Spark or Flink. Those things are much more Scala friendly than Closure compared to Closure. So I started doing in the night Closure, and then now I'm doing pretty much. I think 40% of the time Closure. So anyway,
nice.
so what was is it still challenging? Because as Ray was pointing out before we started the show, the challenge behind hiring Closure people, what is the demand and supply like, and how do you bring them up to speed, or do you capture Java developers? What is your target?
So as a like company, we haven't been actively recruiting like people, but like people want to join us, and that's totally like excellent. But like we try to help our customers also, because for example, now I'm in the project, and it's like 1.5 years approximately. We will finish that probably before summer vacation, and the idea is that like we started to do that, but soon their developers came along, and now we are like doing knowledge transfer and training for them. And like that's the different side. So like ex-Java developers, and just like showing them how we have been doing that, and like bi-weekly small trainings, and like we have given lots of like courses to different companies in Finland, but like just but it seems to be that it doesn't take long for a Java developer to catch up. It's like maybe few months, and then they're like really productive, and like maybe 2 weeks or something that you can start doing some real work. So I don't see that it's not hard. And one thing I noticed that there was, I remember in one project, there was a guy who never had done Java before. He had done all these like different kind of things, but like not Java. And he asked, "Is it a problem?" We said, "No, it's not a problem." And he picked up Clojure really fast, so because he didn't know the like object oriented that much, so it was just like natural to just pick a new tool.
Yeah. But isn't the platform is a bit of JVM is like our Clojure has this leaky abstraction because you're thrown into JVM pretty quickly. So don't you think that's it's a bit of difficult for non-JVM people to pick up Clojure? Or maybe you haven't, this guy who's picking up pretty easily. So maybe that's not the case anymore.
Yeah, but I think the same for ClojureScript, but not all ClojureScript developers are really good at JavaScript. So if you know JavaScript, if you want to be really good at anything, you have to know the like host languages. It's for same for JVM and the JavaScript side. But if you don't know that much and you are part of the team, there's usually someone who knows the like dirty details, how some JVM threading model works and what are the libraries or how something like should be configured. So not everybody has to know that, but of course, like if you have done like Java and JavaScript and you start doing Clojure, you know like the host languages, and you are like it's much easier.
I think sometimes though, with JavaScript especially, there are certain aspects of JavaScript that are kind of a headache. Even for JavaScript developers, like the prototype inheritance is a bit weird, and also like the whole this and some of the equals and some of the things which are around the kind of like the way the language hangs together is a bit, let's say, depending on which JavaScript developer you talk to, they have different kind of idioms around how they use JavaScript, especially with the evolution of the language from quite rapidly in the last couple of years, with like ES4, ES5, ES6, a lot of changes in the language that a lot of people haven't caught up with. Whereas if you're using ClojureScript, you're kind of like, you don't care about that, You're already advanced beyond where they're going to be anyway.
That's true.
I don't think they're really, apart from, the only thing that I find a bit weird is the way that promises interact with ClojureScript. That's a bit unusual. I mean, I'm trying to think of where things are, like you say, VJ, where the host language is kind of like getting away a little bit, or where they bleed in, With the JVM, it's not so bad, because the only thing really the JVM to me is like the stack traces, and of course you have to use the libraries, but then you're not using the language then. You're just,
Yeah, that's true. I think mostly it's the the stack traces, obviously. Then you see some that is still kind of okay, because you can say, okay, this is the way Clojure's way of showing errors, so we can work around it. But I think as Tommy was pointing out, understanding the threading model and all that stuff, and what kind of libraries are available, especially you're doing Java interop and library is not available for you. Now you're doing JDBC, for example, that's a direct link to Java.
The other thing maybe is we can just hit on is that the thing that really probably I feel the most still is this notion of statefulness. Because I was using this last week, I was doing something with Twilio, and they have a Java SDK. And when you start using it, you have to call this init Twilio thing, Twilio init. And it's like, what the fuck is that, And it's obviously doing some side effecting bullshit to set up some global state, And that feels very weird. And the same on JavaScript, you have these like stateful components like Google Maps and these other things, which are having all these weird side effects that you can't control. Those are things which I think are like, they're definitely a pain point between the two languages.
Yeah.
I was just like a few weeks ago, I was trying to, one of our libraries, the Rated, and I wanted to port the thing which needed the most performance into Java, and I had forgotten how to do that, because there was this like data structure, and it was mutable, and it was like leaking, and I was like, wow, how did I manage this? So because you get used to this immutability, and it just works, and suddenly you have these hash maps, and like if I put something there, like it's there, and like when I return like the original instance, it's still there because I have mutated that. And it took me some time to like figure out. So like, and I was thinking, how did I manage this? It was like big systems with these mutable things, and they just worked. And you have this like mindset of like how to build that. In Clojure, it's like really simple, just pass things and it's data.
Yeah, that's true. I think one of the I remember some time ago, long time ago, when I was working in a Java project. One of the team decided that okay, we should follow the what is that, better Java or something, that like everything is final, and then you basically refactor all the code to use final classes everywhere and final in the arguments and all that shit. And I think that's the first thing you do when you get somebody else's Java code, and then you start putting finals everywhere first of all, and then figure out, okay, now how can I handle this shit now? I think most of the time later, because you depend on the frameworks, and then frameworks are trying to abstract away some of the stuff for you. But still with lots of configuration, lots of crap with Spring and Hibernate and all the junk that you need to handle. There are so many layers. It was fun though. So I think I need to ask the question of the hour, or so Emacs or some other shit.
Some other shit.
Yeah. So is it 20 times some other shit in medicine?
So I'm using cursive with IntelliJ, so it's really good because I want the Java interop and it just works. So yeah, but I was an Emacs user for like maybe 10 years when I started, and that was the thing. But at some point, the like Java IDEs came and they had these like much better features for refactoring, and it was Eclipse and then IDE, and just like I'm still there. I tried to go back to SpaceMax with my colleagues, so show me how it works, and no, I don't want to go there again. It's like I could go, I could go there, but there's this hurdle. I'm not going to. I don't have time for that. Too many like.
So there is enough. There is enough population at Metacin that uses Emacs then.
I think half of the people use Emacs.
One. Oh wow! Okay, that's not bad.
And like Juha uses Vim, of course. Yeah. More beer.
The wizards just bought me a beer. Yeah.
But tooling wise, I can totally understand, because I was using Eclipse a lot before IntelliJ. I think it was 5 or something, IntelliJ or whatever. And then in 2008, 2009, I switched to IntelliJ, and then doing some Scala as well. And for Scala and Java, there is no other way. I mean, it's so easy to navigate because the code is so fucking complicated. You need an IDE for it.
That's true.
It's impossible, Every time you need to bring up some sort of class diagram to see, okay, where the fuck is this being used? Like all the dependencies. So that's pain in the ass.
I think the big thing to me with cursive, and it's something which Colin has done a great job of, is the debugger. Because when you need a debugger, you've got a great one there. You don't need it as much with Clojure as you do with other languages, but having a really, really good debugger is just sweet. So very nice. Yeah.
I didn't feel the need to use cursive yet. I only use SpaceMax most of the time, and I think these days I'm using IntelliJ for writing Rust, because static typing with IDEs is a bit nicer, I think. You just get all the fancy stuff pretty quickly there, and also in at least for the Rust code, because it's the types are inferenced most of the time, and IntelliJ will actually show their types without you typing them. So that's super cool.
And parameter names and stuff like that.
Exactly. So that's super useful. So coming to Clojure, or when you're talking about Clojure, so you built a lot of libraries for Clojure. A long time ago, I think you were using schema a lot as well, or you have schema coercions in your routing library.
So I think like when the schema appeared, I cannot recall when was that, but it was like it was really beautiful because it's like all data, and it was suddenly like the missing thing. So, and I had this Euroclosure talk about the schema coercion in like Krakow. I can't recall how 5 years ago or something, but like it was the missing piece basically, because we were like I was coming from this huge, large enterprise, and we were helping customers to build similar apps. There's lots of data all around, and like you just don't want any kind of like functional validation of things. You want to declare this is my data, and it looks like this, and like all the like Swagger things. So because all the other languages had those already, and that was actually a reason for one of my Scala like projects, because like there wasn't any kind of tooling for Clojure. So everybody was happy, like, we have these data and functions and it's cool. But like everybody else had Spring and Scalatra and Play and whatever. And they had all these like batteries. So just realized, we went to the project, but we couldn't use Clojure because it was a requirement. And during the project, I realized that we have to do the tooling because no one is doing that. The community is so small, and started doing the Composer API. And it's so many years ago. Yeah. But
so, how was the transition from schema to spec? Do you use spec a lot in your code bases already?
I would say that we use, but I haven't used that because the project I'm currently in. So when it started, spec was quite new, and there were two things that the customer wanted. One is that like when we leave, because idea was that we will make the like initial architecture and help them build and then do the knowledge transfer. And there were no guarantees of spec. We started with spec, but suddenly like, okay, is it coming ever? It was like after 1 year, it's who knows where it is, deep in the hammock. It might never finish. It was alpha. So we are like, there's only 1 year left and like still no guarantee. So we just like ported everything back to schema, and it works. It's good for this like project. It's much mature and for the maintenance thing, it's like funny that some people say that schema is dead, but I think it's like finished. It's like done. And if you check the like, it's the Plummatic schema repository. So Jason is still active. I think he doesn't even use Clojure at the moment. But whenever there's a bug, he like responds happily, like within hours. So sorry about the bug. I will fix that. And in few hours, it's fixed. So it's like really well maintained, and it's like nothing is missing basically from there.
Yeah.
But like spec, I hope that it will be big. And I think that now that start of this year that Alex, like there's this like visibility is what is happening there. And it's Alex who is doing that. I think that's a really good news for spec. So it might finalize someday. But I think it's taken 2 years at the moment. But the spec tools we did, it was when the projects were starting, and it seems to be that there's lots of stuff missing from the spec. And I thought they're just like Cognitive didn't have time to like figure these out. But later it seems that like they are not in even the scope. And I've been like trying to keep noise of that. So things like coercion, for example, it's something that we build web apps and like these apps with like lots of data models. So if you are building an enterprise app, it might have like 5 different domains, and it is integrating them. And like manually writing these like coercion things, it's like it doesn't scale, it doesn't work. So it have to be some kind of tooling, and like spec tools is this like what is missing from spec in my opinion. We have just like added there, and like some of them are bad and some of them are good, but it works. And there are lots of projects in Metosin which are using spec, but just like I'm a spec newbie basically, just doing the tools.
I was going to say, I think the thing about like saying it's dead, I think is obviously over kind of pessimistic. I think what people are referring to is like probably the ecosystem isn't going to grow much more around it, whereas the ecosystem on spec is still a bit embryonic, but it looks like that's where the ecosystem's going to grow. So probably it's that kind of feeling that people have, is not necessarily that the project is dead per se, but that they don't want to invest too much effort in making more and more tooling for it. Do you see what I mean? Because I think that's what people are nervous about now.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that is dead, but just like I have met people who have said that are you still using schema? So like that's the old thing, spec is the new thing, and I've asked like, do you really use that? Do you have the like thing you want to be there? But like I think like a tool like Expound is like really awesome for spec, and just like integrated that into like rated library, so to do the like nice validations. But it's like there are so many people working with that, so I hope that there will be like good developer toolings for that. But this
It's not there yet, that's for sure. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. But think that what is missing from spec, I think it's like it won't be in the core, but someone needs to do some kind of like fast linter or checker, because we have the information about the map, so what kind of keys they should have, and we have no like we can validate that and say that okay, you passed in like you didn't pass, you passed this value as a, like different what was spec'd, but like you can have extra keys because specs are open. There's no like typo correction, and they should be like like integrated into editors. So when you have a function and you say that what data can I destructure from here, the IDE should say that okay, it has a spec, it has these 4 like keys, and you can work with them. And if you're trying to use keys which are not there, so it would complain that it might not be there. It could be, but like warning. And that
there is potential, but I think it's the it's not even out of alpha yet, right? So that means the tools that need to be built around that one, they need some sort of a solid base, or at least version 1 that the tools can build upon, I think.
I mean, in terms of analysis, they have this in their test suite. They have this instrument thing, and with instrument, you can see from the calls at runtime, what things are being passed. So that seems like there's a good basis for understanding, what data is being passed in to the functions and to the map.
That's runtime, right? I mean, I think you can't use it during the development, so to speak. If I'm typing a function and it doesn't tell me, hey, you're using a key, that's not in the spec. That kind of helper.
Well, but I mean,
probably.
you can, if you have a spec, you can read that. You can read that, and you can see that from the spec itself. As soon as you say this thing conforms to the spec, well, it's quite easy for the tools to infer what the keys are.
Yeah.
So all I'm trying to say
it needs to be stabilized, right?
The code exists for making it at runtime, and the specs themselves make it quite easy in the editor, actually.
Yeah.
But there isn't, but it isn't well integrated into everything yet, because, like you say, people are nervous about the changes that are going to happen. So, on the one hand, people are thinking like, "Fuck it, there's such a lot of value that I'm going to start using it because it's better than anything I've got right now." But at the same time, it's not finished. So the tools aren't really there. I mean, I agree with that.
Yeah, but I think that like Spec 2, which is like now in the making. So I've checked the repo. It looks, and I think the transparency that Alex has been providing with his blog and everything. So it's like much better. But I'm still not sure if there's any way to influence what the spec will do in the end, because these things. I have this one patch in the closure Jira, and it's been there for maybe 2 years, and it has this first notion that maybe we're not taking this, and Rich has to asset that. I'm totally okay that it might be a bad patch, but like no one has, like Rich hasn't checked that. So so I don't know, like it seems to be that there's this vision that it will be looking like, and just like I'm hoping that there will be enough like extension points for like tools like spec tools that we can do stuff outside of that. The first version of spec was closed. There was one place to extend, and when I tried to do that, it was like you are doing it wrong. So that's not the place to extend anything. So don't try to extend the specs. It might change, and like let's see what happens.
I hope so, because I mean, it seems like with 1.10, with error messages and stuff like that, they kind of they ate their own dog food a little bit in terms of like saying it needs to be available programmatically as data, and it needs to be kind of available with functions like this xinfo and xcause and xtriage, things that can convert the data. And I know, and Alex and Stu have all said that they want it to be accessed programmatically. So I think the willingness is there, and that the design goals are there. So I mean, I hope you're right. That they will follow up on that in the code. And Alex is doing a great job of transparency. I think you're absolutely right there.
Thanks, Alex.
Thank you, Alex. Yeah, it's really good.
If you are listening, thank you, Alex, for all the Inside Closure blog, obviously. But I'm just wondering, because over the period, I think it's almost like 7 to 8 years that you're fully into Closure with Metacin. Because this has been a topic a bit with the other guests as well. Like, how do you see because you made a significant investment in Closure now, and you're also pitching it to your clients. So how do you see the community? How do you see the stewardship around the language, apart from the Jira issues that we talked about? So what is your opinion on that one?
That's a really good question. And there's been so much discussion about this in all the possible medias. And I've just read them. I don't want to be part of that. There's the both ends. It seems to be that there are two really the ends are so far away, and there's people get fears really fast. But I appreciate the language in the sense that it's still the best language I've used ever. So of all the languages, so I love the language. I would hope that it would be more community driven, because there's so many brilliant people in the community who would like to make things better. And now it seems to be that it's Cognitech is making the shots how it evolves, and it's good thing in the stability side. But then again, if the community is not listened and given space to do things that's not good either. So
yeah,
but it's stable, and then error messages are much better. And I think the error message nailed that. So that in 110, the thing that the core does is just it seems to extract the data. So what is happening, when it happened, and what happened, and then it doesn't format the errors as nicely as other languages. But the formatter should be, I think, community driven. There should be this nice formatter, just you can plug it in and it will do the things, because it will have totally different time span than the core development. So you can daily put new formatting rules there to get these nice formats. And actually, I
agree with that.
Yeah, and actually, just there's this Closure Commons Slack channel.
Yeah, CLJ Commons.
Yeah, and we were discussing there with Ben about because he did the Expound, and which is really awesome tool. So could that formatting be used somehow with core errors? And I just today actually released the rated version, which has it has the Expound formatter, and it has this FIP-based formatter, and they're because all the interesting errors happen in that library. It's a routing library in the router creation time. So just having this one place which catches all the exceptions and reformats them. If you can say that use this formatter, reformats those, and they look really nice. And now that Elm has nice errors, ETA has nice errors, many languages have really nice errors, and I think there's nothing stopping. Just someone needs to be doing this. And I was trying to poke Ben that you did Expound, maybe you should do this too. But I'm happy. What we did was just an experiment. So can we do nice error messages? You should check them out today's release. But happy to contribute to any kind of commons thing.
Maybe you should set this one a bit. Explain a bit what rate it is, and
sure.
Where does it fit in the Closure stack?
Oh, sure. So so we did a routing library. How interesting is that? So we had only 20 of those already. So just
hello world.
Hello world, exactly. So let's make 10 of everything. So I think we've used all the routing libraries in Closure. I think at least because there have been so many, and everyone has been somehow opinionated. And Composure API was just it is old nowadays, and started because Composure was good those days, and started to build on top of that. But it's macros basically, and I think that data driven way of designing Closure libraries, that's the way to do it. And there were a few examples, but somehow there was something missing from those, and like just wanted to see that could we make something like beautiful out of this. And so we did this small spike about this Rated. It's a routing library. It's like a stack of, it's a library for creating routing frameworks, basically. So in the core, it's just like, for example, BD. So there's this small protocol which allows you to like, you can create routers, and after that you can match by path or match by name. And then, because it's data, you can extract the original routes and options and whatever. And that's the small thing. And like within that layer, the Rated core, there are like several different implementations for the router. So the one goal we had in this library is the performance, because most of the Clojure libraries which were existing, they said that in the README, so we are not trying to do fast. We just want to make this like good routing, which has this nice API. And if you use regex, you are already like, you have lost the performance. So like, and being in the like Java side and in the Scala, we have like, I had been doing some like perf stuff earlier. So I thought that, okay, we can probably make this really fast. And like, it was interesting to check all the tries. Is it tree or try? How do you
try?
Try?
I think.
Yeah.
TRIE. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. Don't ask me. I'm not the native guy. I mean, we have a British. We have
I
a
don't know what
Queen's
it is either.
English
I mean,
dude.
you know, I think it's a made-up word that it wasn't around in the 17th century when
probably
I learned my
tree. I don't
English,
know.
So you know.
Yeah. But anyway, you need the tree kind of thingy, which is like a data structure for fast lookups.
Yeah.
So like checking those and like all the good optimization. So if you have like a routing table with only static routes, you can do a hash lookup and it still like always works. If you have wildcard parameters, you use this try and optimize it in many ways. There are tens of ways to optimize that. And if you have conflicting routes, you have to have these partial linear routers and stuff. But in the core, it's like try to be a really fast router. But in top of that, there's these routing frameworks. One is for Ring, one is for pedestal, one is for front end, and one is for like the like async HTTP or like the Sieppari interceptor model. And it's just like just using the core and using its cores like extension hooks to make these like higher level like routers. And with that, there's nice properties like the how the data gets accumulated. There's this lovely library called MetaMerge. So you can say that like you can have flat routes, or you can have this tree of routes and say that every route under API has this interceptor and they just accumulate to the leaves. So, and once you have the router created, it's like really fast and performant and like optimized for all use cases. And for example, that's the one place we have the error message printer. So there's the clear separation of like when you do things, you create things. And then we don't have to be fast. We have to be like correct. And then if you fail, you get these nice developer-friendly errors. And in runtime, there's as little as thing to you do as little as possible. And there's these like extensions like compiling interceptors and middleware. So you can like change your workload from request processing time to this creation time. And like it just it works. And now it's today. Dimitri just tweeted about that Luminous like swapped the Composure API to Rated, and that's really nice. So it was an option already there, but with the defaults it would go to Composure API. So now it's Rated, and it's like I think much easier. And because it's data, you don't have to have these like any kind of macros or dependencies. Just like write the right data as a route, and it just works. But,
so this is also can be used in this library is also going to help with routing on the front end side on JavaScript.
Yeah.
Sorry, on ClojureScript.
Yeah. So
okay.
So there's this one module Rated. So it's a like a big monorepo. There's like maybe 10 modules. The core, then there's the schema coercion, spec coercion. There's the front end pedestal development tools, and you can just like take the core routing, and it's really small, few kilos. But one module is the front end router, and it's basically Juho has been doing that, so he could talk about more what he's doing. But like we used Silk and BD in the front end,
Yeah.
and like and
Or
now like
accountant,
accountant, and
Secretary or accountant? I don't know.
sorry.
It was called secretary or something, or
I think there's secretary and accountant, and there's a whole bunch of these
okay.
admin type tasks, you know.
the Lisp curse.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But in the front end, like it has this, it has a history router, it has the like fragment router, it has the like Gizmo style controllers that we have been using in all the projects. It's like really good, and like it just works. And because you can use the same stuff in the back end and in the front end, you can have shared routes, and like there's all these things like you can use literal data, you can like reference all the interceptors as keywords, and like it can be extended in many ways. But like it's anyway like routing library, full stack routing, so front end, back end, and it's not tied to HTTP in any way, so you can have this like message queue routing, whatever.
So does it work with like, so it works with Aleph and Ring and these other HTTP kit and those kind of things, or is it specific to your
no
HTTP server?
No, it's not. It's just like generic. So
Right.
like I think there's examples with Immutant and Aleph at the moment,
Right.
and Jetty, I think, but it doesn't like. It doesn't matter what is the like server. If you use Aleph, like then you have to use there's in Aleph this one bridge component which you have to use so the deferred flow nicely through that. Yeah,
So what is your choice stack at Matosin in terms of libraries? Because you've been doing this for, I mean, there are a lot of projects running in Clojure. So front end on the server side. Which libraries are you did you standardize on something, or is it per project basis?
It depends what we are doing. So there's like first of all, like who are our customers? So there's like three kind of things we are doing. One is the big thing is the large corporates and like enterprise customers. And usually they have these requirements that what you are using it has to be like Postgres or Oracle, and that's it. And like they dictate what they should look like. And for example, this one requirement I remember that whatever you use, you have to be able to say that it's available in 10 years. And it was like my last like, okay, we are taking Datomic. 10 years. Maybe not. I have no idea what happens to Datomic in 10 years, so we cannot just like say that we vote for that. Yeah, but like for those, I would say that like if you're using a relational database, it's Postgres. Then there's rated like end to end, so front end and back end, and the controllers, and most likely reframe on the front end. And then like this big horde of like extra libraries which are useful for Integrant for like. The component stuff. I think we used Mount in few projects, but I think the Integrant seems to be the cleanest, like of the three, component and Mount and Integrant. So, but that's the like when you are like given a choice of relational database, that's the stack basically. And on top of that, we have these few other libraries. One is for like this WebSocket communications. Name will change because it's now ANS. And Jarppa was...
Is it a Finnish word for anus, or what is it actually?
Yeah, exactly. So it was like it was funny before Jarppa went to this Clojure Finland and said that then you stuck your data into the anus.
In the anus.
We realized that, okay, the name has to change.
Yes.
Yeah, so name...
Upgrade your anus.
Upgrade your anus. Yeah, but it's like we have been building this...
This is new level of shit.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Okay. I think we're not even R-rated. We're probably, I don't know, STUVW rated.
This is what brings in the Patreon money, guys. Keep it going.
Anarchy up your anus. Yeah. Okay.
But what does the library do actually?
one thing that it seems to be that in many projects we have been needing some kind of like state machine. And me and Jarppe, we have been doing like the same thing in all the projects all over again. And now there's this tilakone. It's a Finnish word for state machine. Jarppe put it's in GitHub. I have a like different version of that in the project I'm doing, but like it's the like basically WebSockets and real time and like state machines and like data-driven like rule engine and stuff, and then this Postgres, for example. But then we're doing also like lots of stuff for startups, and for startups, for example, Datomic is in many cases that's the thing, because if you have Clojure, that's a good fit, and the like characteristics it gives are a good fit for like many places. You need like history and audit log and stuff like that. So that's another like stack, but like we cannot put it everywhere, and we don't want to do that for all the projects. And then the third thing we are doing is like we are now doing consultancy, but we are like we have been partnering with these small startups, and now we have like few of these ongoing. So one is for like healthcare, and one is for like healthcare. So, but like we have invested like money into these companies and being their technology provider, and they're like product leads and like waiting for this one big investment decision for the other one. So let's see what happens. So it might shift the focus from consulting to like building products
for product development.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So going back to your, we're diving in all the questions here. Going back to your state machine thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I get what a state machine is, but can you just spin out a little bit more information about the kind of things you're using the state machine for? And like, I'm guessing you're saying like there's a starting point, and then there's some options you can go from here, this state to that state, and that state to that state, and that state to that state, the valid states, and then some terminal state that you can go to. So what kind of thing are you using that state machine for?
So, for example, the project I'm now in, so when we started, so we saw this small part of the application. So it's like a big web app for like people who use that like 7.5 hours a day. So they use the whole day. It's like a platform of like these processes. There's like assets going in and out, and there's approvals and things. And when we started, we thought that, okay, this seems to be that this CQRS, command query responsibility segregation kind of thing. So like we just model the like GraphQL. So we just model the queries and the commands differently, and that's it. But after doing that for a while, we realized that actually these are processes. We cannot have these like 100 different mutations over there. We have to, they somehow like belong to something bigger. And
there is a life cycle of these things.
Life cycle, exactly. So someone starts something, and then it has like these like long running steps. So like you initialize a process, and then maybe fill some things and put it to the next guy, and then it spans out and then like returns, and there's this it can end happily or and you can go back. And suddenly like when you like start discussing with the business, and you realize that we don't have an abstraction for this. And then you remember that we have been doing these kind of finite state machines in many projects. So let's do it again. And some small like data like abstraction and print out graphics pictures of that. And that's suddenly you can discuss with the business. So is this the project you are looking at? No. This person can return to this state from here. And if this guy does this and these are simultaneous, and suddenly you have like this new kind of tool to discuss what is the thing all about. And suddenly then you realize that the whole project is about this. So you have like tens of these like processes, and you just model everything as a process, and then you have a state machine basically. But like human interactions which have some kind of like flow and tooling for that. But the tools are small, and they're like from project to project, they are like copied basically, and now probably we'll flush them out. Like me and Jarppe will probably check what he did and what I did, and can we somehow like merge them into this a new open source tool. Yeah.
But it's pretty great though. I mean, the amount of code that you're putting out into the community, it's amazing. So thanks a lot for that.
Thanks.
I mean, think I was there at your talk as well. That's how I remember schema and coercion. And this is from your talk some time ago, probably from Euroclosure Berlin or maybe one of those places. Anyway, so I think so you talked about Write It. You talked about Tilakone. Sorry,
Tilakone, yes.
We talked about Uranus.
Yeah, the anus, yes.
Oh, sorry, the Anus.
That's it. Yeah.
the. So of course, when the another interesting thing you folks are doing in Finland is you have this conference closure tray.
Oh, yeah.
So how did it come about? And this is fifth year or fourth year?
Eighth, I think eighth year.
Eighth?
Oh wow, sorry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm talking about Dutch Closure Day, I think. Sorry.
So
I'm a bit biased a bit.
yeah, I'm happy to talk about that. So the first one was like as I said, we had this like first big closure project, and we were so excited, and we had this first team result. So everybody was happy. So we have to say it aloud, and we had this like ad hoc. So 2 weeks in advance. So let's have this conference. It was basically a meetup, but there was 25 people. It was sold out. There was some Aaron like over there, and we were like really happy. So that this like friendly guy, and he has this really inspirational talk and music and like everybody and sauna, of course. That's the like thing we have, sauna, we say in Finland.
Yeah.
But we realized that this was called Closure Tray, so maybe we should have that next year too. And the next year we had took 1 month or something in Varma. So let's make this real conference. And there was it was also sold out, maybe 70 people. And they were real invited speakers and maybe call for speakers even. But then it was 150 people, maybe 200. And now it's 350 for the last 2 years or something.
Okay.
Wow.
And we moved.
And single track.
Yeah. So it was in Tampere for the first 6 years. Last year it was in Helsinki. And this year it's also in Helsinki. And when we started out, it was just us buying pizza and beer for everybody. So it was fun to spend a few €1,000 over there. But after that, having catering for 300 plus people and it costs. So we have had these bigger sponsors, and it's been really nice to see that all the major players, the good reputational consultancy companies, they are on board. Because we are small, we are not competing with any of those. So so it's having these really good sponsors which make this possible, and we are all, of course, the biggest sponsor. So it's not non-profit, it's a loss of profit. So whatever needs to be paid, so we do that. But it is
non-profit, as in you don't make any profit at all.
No, we are not.
It's no profit.
We are probably the biggest sponsor in all the years, and we don't calculate the hours we have been spending, but it's something that we are an open source company, and the community is really important for us. So and as I said, if no one knows about Closure, we don't have any work in Closure. If everybody knows Closure and they said that it was the best conference ever, so they will come again and they will talk to their boss, and lots of people have joined Metosin because of the conference. They see that, okay, you are doing good stuff, I want to join you. And many customers have said that, okay, I appreciate what you are doing and you seem to be knowing what you are doing, so work for us, make a project for us. So it's it's good, and this year it's in the same spot as usual on end of September. Yep. Yeah. Are you coming?
Your CFP is open, right? Or
do the Defn guys get an invite?
Definitely. So the CFP is open. I think it opened 2 days ago or something. Okay. It's open until end of May. Yeah. And and for the last 2 years, there have been ticket prices. Before that, it was totally free. But now, because it's so big that we have to get the money somewhere. So this year was
not sustainable.
75 euros for 1 day and 100 euros for 2 days. And the diversity and student tickets are always free. So if it's there's this chart that I can't pay, and you have to say why, and then you have a free ticket. So
Yeah, it's
super
a
nice.
pretty
Yeah, it's super
decent
nice.
price. I think the biggest cost for most people who are not in Finland is getting there, but
yeah.
I'm going to try and be there this year.
Yeah,
I was
I think
going to
so.
try. I couldn't make it this year, last year, but I'd like to make it this year. And,
Cool.
Yeah, I think so. I think
VJ as well
I'll
will try and do it. Yeah.
yeah, I'll try to be there as well. But it's really amazing. Like 8 years you've been running this, and you also have a small FP conference the day before, right? Or is
Yeah,
it,
it's like I'm this year not part of the community, so they don't have the two names at them. Yeah, last year it was like small FP in the first day and the closure tray in the second day, and now it's just closure tray 2 days, but the first day is functional, and the another day is closure. So there's like at least one of the Elixir core developers, core committers is speaking in the like small FP, like
Nice.
and then there's Alex Miller in the like closure tray.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there might,
Very nice.
yeah, there might be some announcements still for the speakers, but the call of speakers is open now and for next 2 months. So
Yeah.
So we could do something.
yeah, you could make a Defn talk.
We could make a podcast on stage.
Yeah. That's gonna be disaster.
Come on, a Defn panel. We haven't had that before. A panel show, you know?
Yeah, that's true. I think we can do that. Yeah. Maybe live from Helsinki.
Yeah, that could be quite good fun.
So this is our finish line, essentially, right?
Yeah.
Ouch.
We
We weren't going to
reached
do
the
those
finish line.
puns on air.
But coming back to the conferences thing, and of course, as you know, I'm part of the team that is organizing Dutch Closure Days.
Yeah.
And thanks a lot for your support. Actually, I think it's been
You're welcome.
third year or something. You've been sponsoring us. I can totally understand. Like it's a very difficult to pull off a free conference without sponsors and everything. And for us, it's also fairly challenging. And this year, actually, we have, I think, a nice Finnish delegation coming to Dutch Closure Day, actually.
Exactly. I heard about. So 3 of our guys are coming at least, and there's people from Sealy at least.
Yeah. And there are 2 talks, one lightning talk and one full talk by 2 Finnish people.
That's amazing.
I think.
And congratulations on your conference. It's like, yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be fun, we hope, again this year. So any other topics to touch upon? I think we are pretty good on time.
Yeah. I don't know.
Ray?
I don't know. I mean, I think obviously it's great stuff that these guys are doing, and that they give the conference and they make the libraries and they do the consulting. I'm pretty sure that we could dive into a bit more deep depth into any one of those libraries again, but we're like over an hour now, so maybe get Tommy back, or we talk a bit, do a bit more kind of interviewing stuff if we get up to Closure Tray in the autumn. I think that would be really good.
That would be awesome. Yeah.
That's true. Yeah,
we will see.
And then, Tommy, you're going to Closure North, right?
Yeah, I'm going there to talk about Rated actually, and
cool.
yeah. So I'm going there. So
Nice.
I wanted to come to Closure Days too, but there's my kids' swimming contest in the same day. First, international, so
live.
it's no way. Yeah. It's a
but yeah, I mean, it's amazing. Like there are so many conferences this year. It's just
it's amazing,
crazy.
So, so there's Closure D, Closure Days. Then there's Heart of Closure. There's Closure Tray, and there's Closure X. Yeah.
Closure X.
Yeah.
And it was nice to share the stage with Mikko.
Mika. In Closure D, you mean?
Yeah, in Closure D, of course.
Mika,
so now we're trying to. Yeah. So we are trying to, of course, try to enforce each other, help each other in terms of running these conferences. So it is really nice to see the openness from you guys and from Closure D and Heart of Closure, Arna and everybody.
Yeah.
So as you said, I mean, we are working in Closure, and without the community, there won't be work, and without the work, there won't be community. So it's like and the stuff that you're doing is really awesome. The conferences and. Of course, you have commercial interest with your company, but you're doing it because you like the language, and also sponsoring and releasing the open source stuff. So thanks a lot. I think that's pretty much it.
Just
for
give
us
a
today.
give a little shout
Yeah.
out to a few of the Patreons.
Yeah.
So we got a few more. You know, keep on like coming in. It's very nice actually. So thanks very much to. Now I'm not sure if I've said this guy before or not. So I think we'll just take a risk that I haven't. And if it's a double, who cares? It's a guy called. Well, I don't know what his or her name is actually, but it's Ji Yin Yi Yong. Now I don't know if it's a real name or anyway. That's the name they're giving. So thank you, Ji Yin. And then there's Lukasz Koreki. Thank you very much, Lukasz. And then the next one is Jayinder Reddy. Oh, Jai Hind Reddy. Maybe you know it.
Jai Hind Reddy. Yeah, Jai Hind Reddy.
Jai Hind Reddy. Okay. Better. You're guaranteed not to butcher that
India.
one. Yeah, okay. That's good. Why am I reading these things?
So they can complain loudly.
Yeah, I know. Finally for this one is the guy who was on our show about a month ago, Mo Abulke. He's throwing in a bit of cash, which is really kind of him. So that's really nice. So thank you very much to all the Patreons, all the people that we've talked about in the past. It helps us to cover our costs and do good stuff. So thank you very much. We really appreciate it. And I'll hand the mic back over to you, Vijay, to wrap it up.
Thank you.
Bring it home.
Yes. So wrapping up, thanks a lot, Tommy. And as you heard, not Tommy, but the people who are listening to the podcast, the CFP is still open for Clojure Tray. Is there going to be sauna again?
Yeah, definitely.
Tommy?
There will be sauna.
Okay, so there is going to be
gonna be
nice. It's going to be hot. In beautiful Helsinki in September. So check the website out, clojuretray.org.
Yeah.
And Dutch Clojure Day is upon us in a few weeks, I think, April 6th. We have the schedule published. Everything is up and running. And I think I'll see some of you there. And Ray will be there as well, Ray and Wouter, the Defn gang. So we'd love to have have a chat and listen to your complaints in person. And thanks a lot for the veterans. And Tommy, thanks again for taking time on Sunday evening for us.
Thanks for having me.
Absolute pleasure. Cheers, Tommy.
Cheers.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Oh, fuck. Why does it say off air? I can't make it on air again.
Oh!
Let me see. Refresh. Oh, fuck. It did. Fucking fuck. Oh. I think that's 47 episodes of fucks in first 5 minutes.